Right, Jay?
You would be wrong once again.
I was wrong, so don't quote me on that because Jay will probably hurt your feelings when you walk in there. But go ahead, Ben. Tell us what we got going on.
Well, what we got going on today is we got the number one ranked team in 2A in state Arkansas, the Mineral Springs Hornets. They have been winning a lot of games very convincingly. They've got several college athletes. I believe it was at KT that picked up the Independence Community College offer this week.
Yes, sir.
And they were on a Last Chance U, correct?
Yes, sir. They were.
So that's a big deal there. Just want to start off here. Coach, we mentioned a little bit earlier before the show, so far y'all have had kind of easy sledding. How do you stay focused? And is there any pressure on that?
I think there is a little bit of pressure. You worry that are you going to be ready when somebody steps up and hits you in the mouth when you see some adversity. Now, I don't want to downplay the other teams we've played. They've gave us a good show last week for a quarter, but we have had a lot of success. But in the same sentence, I've really been hammering these guys about execution and looking at things that we can improve. And I tell them every week, I've told them since week 0, it's us versus us. It doesn't matter who we play. It's what we should be doing, how we should be executing, what our potential is. And so hopefully that's going to help us keep improving. We don't want to peak too soon.
Yes, sir.
Well, how do you talk about execution? How do you continue to get your defense to stay excited about the games? Because, based on the stats I'm looking at, you've only given up 28 points for the whole season.
We've scored more points on defense than we've given up, so that's pretty impressive. We have a lot of goals that we set that we want to reach. Turnover-wise, I think we're sitting at like 23 forced fumbles and 11 or 12 interceptions on the year. We do a lot of different awards. If we score on defense, we have awards. If we reach a certain quota, we have awards. We do cookouts for shutouts and feasts for 50. If we score 50 points, we have a big cookout the coaches put on. If we have a shutout, we do a big cookout the coaches put on. And the kids really get into that kind of stuff. They want to put that out that we have the best defense. It's kind of been a thing that people have said last year that, Mineral has speed and they can score, but they don't want to hit you in the mouth. They don't want to be physical. They're not disciplined. And so we really took that personal, and we're trying to prove a point this year with our defense.
Let's talk about that feast for 50 real quick. So I'm going to start watching your scoreboard here. You're just going to have to give me some directions where y'all have these cookouts.
That's it. Hey, I've got to hook up with Farmers Bank, and Farmers has got a heck of a cooking trailer, and man, we've been having them pretty regular. Now the kids get on me a little bit because play calls can kind of dictate. It starts getting in your pocketbook every now and then. We regulate how many cookouts we have, and they say, hey, they're fixing to score. Can we go back in and stop them and get the shutout? Because I know you're not going to score 50 this game. And we were stuck at 42 for 3 or 4 weeks in a row there, and they got on me a little bit about that.
Right. So I can tell you it's very easily to be enticed by food. I had a coach in high school the same way. Shout out to Doc, Coach Fountain. He used to take us to eat, let's go get a double meat. He used to take us to get double meat cheeseburgers.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a good thing going right there.
It's been good for us, and, we don't talk about this a whole lot, but there is a couple state records that we've looked at that could be attainable if we keep playing the way we've been playing on defense. So those are things that we also look at. We set those goals. But mainly, like I said, we have an expectation. You have a bar that you set for your kids. This is where we expect you to play, and this is how we expect you to practice. And we film practices. We watch game film and go over all the, coaching. The bad part is it's hard to be positive all the time. You feel like, you beat somebody by mercy rule, they come out of the film session, they feel like they lost. I mean, they're just beat down, but we sit there and hammered everything that we didn't do that we need to correct, and then we go to practice and work on it. And I think that's been the key thing is just you always holding yourself to a high standard, having that accountability.
Well, something new over the last 10 years that coaching staffs have had to sort of balance is, social media and things like that. And one of the things that I've recognized just over the social media pages that I look at is y'all have got a pretty good community behind your team. Tell us a little bit about the support that you get from the community.
Absolutely. And Mineral Springs hadn't had a recent tradition, but over the years, they've been a tradition-rich football town. They've had a lot of success, and the stadium's been packed every game this year. It's been really good. It's been a fun environment. You can't walk through town without somebody stopping you. Hey, that was a great game. Hey, these guys are looking good, and good luck to you guys. It's been really nice. The administration at the school, the teachers, they're all 100% behind us, and it makes Friday night special when you have that feel. When the kids are walking through town and people are pumping up for the game. Last week was a rival game with Derek's, and we had
we've got a big one.
The week before we had a week off. This week's a big week with Mount Ida. Mount Ida's a traditional powerhouse. They're down a little this year, but it doesn't take away from that name, Mount Ida. We've got Mount Ida Lions this week. Got Coach Mike White, who's one of the best in the state in any classification. So it just makes that special, magical feeling of Friday nights when you have all that support.
You got anything, Tony?
So what kind of you mentioned the support. Is the community backing you guys? What specifically are they doing that's making a difference for you?
One thing, this is my second year to be in the community. I started out, I didn't know anybody, didn't know any of the businesses in town, and in Nashville, there's the closest town. Mineral, we have some businesses there, but it's pretty rural and small. I just started going door to door, walking through. Me and the coaches, we just take a day in the summer. We're going to park the vehicle at the end of the road, and we're going to walk down the street, and we're going to stop in every business and shake hands and meet people and start trying to build some relationships with people. And then that led to sponsorships that help pay for things like the Feast for 50s and cookouts for shutouts. Right now, the last couple of weeks, I haven't had to pay for a team meal because somebody wants to donate, feed the team before the game on Fridays. Our admin has been anything that I needed to order. It's been pretty special. We're very fortunate at our school district with the funds that we have, the facilities. We just got new turf. I had a new weight room when I got there that had just got finished, locker room refinished, our film room, nice stadium seats all the way around. So the facilities that they've put in, little things like scheduling that you don't think about. But our practice, we have a lot of kids that they have to ride a bus 45 minutes to an hour to get home one way. So practicing after school becomes an issue because coaches have to drive them, take them home, or go pick them up. We're a 4-day school week, so on Mondays, you're out of school. We have to go pick those kids up. Just little things nobody thinks about with your maintenance people, letting you have vehicles to go pick those guys up, having everything gassed up and ready for you. It takes a little bit off the coaches. Your practice period in the day being double blocked. A lot of places they don't have, but 50-minute period, that's all you have for athletics. Everything's after school. We're fortunate enough to have an hour and 45-minute in the day built in, so that helps us get the kids home earlier. We still practice after school, but we don't keep them extremely late so that they can stay fresh. They can go get their schoolwork and make those things important also.
That's great.
Yeah, Coach, we were before we went live, we were talking, about the small school stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that happens at small rural schools that big schools don't have issues with, just like you were speaking about. Some kid lives 45 minutes away.
Sure.
But one thing I will say is I've never seen the stadium in person. I've seen pictures. Ben's got pictures of it, and he showed it to me. And it's kind of a shame that when you drive through Mineral Springs that you can't see it from the road.
You're right. Right. And it's going to get better. So we're in the middle of a stadium remodel. We just remodeled our ticket booth, built a new ticket booth, remodeled our concession stand. It looks really nice. Our bleachers themselves and our press box will be, as soon as this season's over, they're prepping things. We're going to have a nice 2-story press box that'll be the width of our bleachers. It's going to be really nice next year, so maybe you guys can come out and catch a game.
That'd be great.
Tell us about some of the leaders you have on your team, both offensively and defensively.
So, it starts with our seniors, and we've got 5 seniors that have not missed a practice. In 2 years that I've been there, they have not missed a single practice. All-state, 2 all-state players that lead us in stat-wise, KT Thomas, that will be here on the show today, and Jace Emerson, that's a defensive lineman for us and plays a little fullback. Those guys have been solid. They're special players, but the other guys maybe are quieter. We've got the other 3 seniors are quiet guys. They're not going to be the rah-rah, stand up and get the team motivated. They're not going to wow you with stats, but they're going to lead by example. They're going to do it every single rep and then some in the weight room. They're going to be at practice on time, setting up drills. They're going to encourage their teammates. You're never going to have to worry about the other 3 guys. Of those 5 guys, those are like the top 7 in the class academically. And the other 3 guys that I'm talking about that are the silent leaders, they're the top 3. They're all battling for valedictorian. So those guys really help us have the solid work ethic that we want our team to have. And we've got some younger guys. Our junior class, Evan Irwin's our quarterback. He's the same way. Ramaj Ware's our middle linebacker. He leads us in defensive stats every week. He's the same way. He's going to be there. He's not going to miss. They're going to be high tempo. They're going to hold other kids accountable. So it's really been the culture that we've been trying to develop for the last 2 years, and it's getting there where, Nick Saban said, good teams, the coach holds everybody accountable. Great teams, the players hold each other accountable, and that's where we're getting to. The players are holding each other accountable. If they miss – kid misses practice for whatever reason, the seniors or the leaders on the team go to him and say, hey, let's go out and get those makeups done so we can get you back on the field. That kind of thing goes a long way. We had some sophomores that, just give you an example, we had some sophomores that were kind of struggling through the summer, very spotty attendance, discipline issues in school, grade issues in school, but we knew, hey, these guys could really help us on the team. So there was 3 or 4 of our guys that went to them and said, hey, we got to get you right. Like, you go start hanging out with us. Said, hey, we have 2 buses, starter bus, non-starter bus. Coach, I know he's not a starter, but he's got to get away from some of these guys. He needs to come be with us. Let's put him on our starter bus. Okay. Since then, dude's 180. Been coming on right now to be one of our better players on offense. So that goes a long way that those kids care about each other. They see those things, and they want to see everybody succeed.
Got one more question here, Coach, before we have to go to the second segment. When the playoffs get here, not to look too far ahead, not to overlook anybody, not
Sure.
to disrespect anybody, but we here in Texarkana, we'd like to know who in the playoffs is going to kind of pose your biggest threat on getting to Little Rock and winning it all.
So, you look at what everybody says. Des Arc's a tradition. They have a tradition of winning. They're ranked really high right now. Carlisle beat us last year. We've got a bad taste in our mouth. We had a chance last year. They were state runner-up. We went there, had the game won, and was up 2 touchdowns at half and ended up losing. And they're really good again this year. I think those are the best 2 teams in the state. East Poinsett County is a team that people throw around. They have a running back, Dennis Gaines, that had like 3,000 yards rushing last year. So I think those are the 3 top teams. Hazen could be in there too. But see, East Poinsett County and Des Arc have to play each other. Hazen and Carlisle have to play each other for the conference championship. So who ends up on our side of the bracket, not sure. But I think us and those 4 are the top teams in the state. But you can't overlook anybody. Murfreesboro is ranked in the top 10. They're undefeated. Yep. They're in our conference. They're coming up. Mount Ida takes them. Mount Ida's a 1-win team this year. Usually powerhouse. They were a quarterfinal team last year. Take Murfreesboro. Nobody's expecting it. 8-6 game. Comes down to the last few plays. You just never know. You can't overlook anybody. And the playoffs are special. You never know. There's going to be always that Cinderella team that nobody expects is going to make a run. And I've been there before in other teams that we've been undefeated conference champions. You go to the first round and play a 5 seed, and you're messing around in the fourth quarter looking up like, I don't know if we're going to be able to pull this off. I mean, And I've lost a game like that before too. So you just, again, us versus us. We're not looking at what they have and what they can do. Obviously, as coaches, we have to scheme that. But as far as our team, we're just trying to focus on doing our best and what we're supposed to do each week.
You know, one more thing I want to point out before we cut loose is you had a 2-game stretch this year where you beat 2 3A teams, Smackover and Falcon, combined 84-2.
Yes, sir.
And what's great about that is those are going to be playoff teams in their conference.
Yes, sir.
And that's something I think that needs to be pointed out. That's already something you've accomplished. It's a big deal this year.
Yes, sir. And we feel good about that. We team camp in the summer. I don't know, it's something Texas I don't think has, but we get to play 11 on 11, nearly full pads. We don't have knee pads. It keeps us from being full pads.
Kids don't even wear knee pads now.
Hey, and the rule, you play all summer with pads on.
I say that to my son all the time. I was like, bro, where's your knee pads at?
Right. We play all summer full contact, and then they say, hey, first few days or 2 days, you can't have any pads on. We got to heat acclimate, And then they say, hey, we got to have knee pads. It's a big point of emphasis this year in Arkansas is the knee pad rule. And I'm like, man, if you turn on college football, nobody's got knee pads. They got them rolled up, you know. But going back to what I was saying, in the summer we get to play 11 on 11 team camp, and we team camp bigger schools. We play Arkansas High. We played Benton in 7-on-7. We went and played the big 6, 7A schools in the summer, whether it was team camp or whether it was 7-on-7, and we competed against people that were out of our classification. And I think that helped us. I think that it helps us with our mentality that, we don't care. We don't care who you are. You still got to line up, and you got to play football, and we're going to play football, and we're going to hit you in the mouth, and you're going to hit us back, and we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay with that. It's not, oh man, it's a bigger school, or there's this or that, and you panic.
Well, good deal, Coach. Well, we're going to take a 30-second break here and bring KT on, and we're very happy that you come down and seen us this morning.
I really appreciate you guys having me. Appreciate it.
Good luck this season, Coach.
Thank you.
Here at Local Habit Coffee Company, we are true coffee connoisseurs and the area's only third wave coffee shop. We are excited as football and fall rolls around to introduce this year's fall drink lineup. We have an all-organic homemade pumpkin spice latte, a delicious s'mores latte, and finally, a smoked maple bourbon cortado that can only be described as fall in a cup. No matter what your preference, you can get your dose of fall right here at Local Habit. We cannot wait to see you in one of our shops, and remember to go make something good happen.
And we are back with Buddy, myself, KT Thomas, a senior at Mineral Springs, Jay Davis, and Tony Basso. KT, you're having a great year this year. Right here, I'm counting up 15 touchdowns on the year.
Yes, sir.
9 rushing, 3 receiving, 2 special teams, and a defensive touchdown.
Yes, sir.
Now, you smiled pretty big there on the defensive touchdown. Which do you prefer to play? Which side of the ball? You like to hit or be hit?
I like playing defense more. I like the pass breakups. I like the interceptions. I like making big hits. I like getting the stands involved.
Right. Well, KT, special year you guys are having down there. Tell us a little bit about not only just the success that you're having, but success, just breeds other good success.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about some of your teammates.
Man, like my quarterback, Evan Irwin, he having an unreal year. Malik Matthews, Javion Fricks, Ramaj Ware. You can't forget Jace Emerson. They all having big years for us. They just make some plays that some teams in 2A, they just ain't got. So I just love having them around me, a big supporting cast around me. So I just love having them on my team. Right.
And also, your coach talked about accountability and how you guys being the leaders and all that stuff hold. So sounds like it's working from coach. Them guys look up to you. They want to do what you do. Just tell us a little bit about that. How's that working out?
It's real good. So just holding the young guys accountable for the years to come, because Mineral Springs is a big powerhouse now. So knowing that I have a good leadership with the younger guys, they can have that for the next couple of years and years to come.
Who do you have coming up behind you that you sort of think, man, he's going to be pretty special running the ball for Mineral Springs?
Malik Matthews. He came from Nashville, Arkansas. He's gonna be real good. And it's some sleepers that nobody really knows about. Kimari Conway came from Hope, got in some trouble when he was younger, but he surprised me a lot in practice. You also can't forget about Nadarius Vine, the Kendrick Piggy. They all got some potential to do some good things next year.
It's pretty impressive. I expected you to say maybe one, maybe two names, but you're basically saying that Mineral Springs is going to be stacked for the next couple of years.
Yes, sir.
Now, how many numbers do y'all have? What's your roster size this year?
26, 27, around there.
And that's above average for 2A.
Yes, sir. From 2 years ago, we had 12 people on our team, my 10th grade year. So knowing that we went to 12 to 27 in the span of 2 years is real good.
That says a lot for the coaching and the culture.
Yes, sir.
So tell me a little bit about one of them. What was it? A cookout for a shutout?
Yes, sir.
How many of them you had?
Almost every game, almost every week. Yes, sir.
I tell you what, after you go off here, we're gonna have a little bit of a break, so you need to get mine and Buddy's number so we know where to come to next time.
Yes, sir.
And Jay will definitely come, and Tony just might.
I'll show up.
Well, so I think we're I think we're just right one game past midpoint of the season. Y'all are poised to go do great things. I know everybody says, and then what you should do is take one game at a time.
Yes, sir.
What do you have Mount Ida this week?
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about that. What are you looking forward to in that game?
Just proving our point to Murfreesboro. Some people got them picked to beat us, so we go blow Mount Ida out this week. That just sends a message to Murfreesboro.
Because Murfreesboro had their hands full.
Yes, sir.
Right.
With the season like y'all have had this year and performances like you've had, how do you keep your head on straight and not, get too big for the moment?
Just got to stay focused, take it day by day, get better every day. And on Friday, just go produce and just win games.
Coach talked a lot about the culture you guys have built. What has that done for you specifically as a player, abiding by that and making sure that's a part of Mineral Springs?
Just try to represent it as good as I can. Just try to put on for my community every week.
We have some fans that are on our page, Texas County Friday Night Lights, that are, I guess they're non-biased. They don't have a kid that plays at y'all school, but they go out and watch y'all. Then they come on our page and talk about how good y'all are. So that speaks a lot about just some random person that's going out to watch a good high school football game, for him to come back and say, or them, not just him, just them, come back and say, man, that Mineral Springs team, man, they got it going on down there.
Yes, sir.
Something else to speak about what Coach Hathcock and his staff and what you kids have built back up. I want to say it's 5 or 6 years ago, and you can correct me if I'm not. There was a year Mineral had to sit out football, correct? Because they didn't have the numbers?
No, sir. Well, we always played.
It may have been further back, 7 or 8 years, but there was 1 year, they'd just come off, I want to say, winning a state title or something, or going to the state finals, but the numbers were so down, and it's been within 12 because the turf was there, and it was, it was a big deal that they had won a state championship and had the success, and then 1 year had to sit out, and now, let's fast forward 6, 8, 10 years, a decade, you're back to number 1 in the state.
Yes, sir.
Good numbers, getting a brand new stadium built.
Yes, sir.
Well,
so who are you looking at on your defense that you're pleased that they don't play for Mount Ida? Who on your defense you're like, you sort of have your eyes on during practice, like, I got to make sure I know where they are?
Wait, for our team or Mount Ida?
Yeah, if you when you're facing your ones on defense, who on your defense are you sort of like, you make sure you know where they are, and sort of keep an eye out for them?
I actually got 2 people, Jace Emerson and Ramaj Ware. Them two is unreal. Ramaj Ware is on every tackle. I kid you not. And Jace Emerson seems like every time you look up, he's in your face. So you always got to know where them two at all times.
And Jace, he gets to run the ball some too, don't he?
Yes, sir. It's hard to tackle.
And I'll tell you one thing I've noticed since you come on is you've talked about so many of your teammates. You named them out. You've said good things about them. I mean, I can, without even knowing your team, I know you are a close-knit group. That's hard to beat. I think that's hard to beat going forward. You guys just having that little nucleus of what y'all are. So, man, keep all that together. Keep pushing forward, and I guess Little Rock's the goal.
Yes, sir, it is.
Right.
Do y'all got anything else on that end down there?
You talked about at the very beginning that defensive touchdown, and like I said, you smiled pretty big. Tell us about some of those.
It's just unreal, just trying to predict where the quarterback going with the ball, and just being at the right spot at the right time, and just going to get 6 points.
And I'm hoping I remember this right. Coach sent to me that it was a 100-yard interception return.
Wow.
Or 70.
70, yes, sir.
Maybe it was one of those special teams that was 100 yards.
Right.
70, 100, that's more yards than I covered in most years.
Well, KT, before we get out of here, Ben, I think you said something to him right before we came on. What college offers? Somebody talking to you? What's going on?
I got Independence, then Arkansas Baptist, and Hendricks. So hoping just get a few more, and just make my decision when the time comes.
Right.
And I want to tell you, it may be a JUCO, but if you follow football like I do, I don't have anything else better to do, I suppose. But that Independence offer is huge.
Yes, sir.
You're going to be playing with D1 dudes there. They got a lot of recognition, and that Kansas Junior College League, the only one that may be on par with it is Mississippi. So congrats to that, and it does not go unnoticed here.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, KT, keep pushing this season. Keep all that team nucleus and fight y'all got built up. Take it to Mount Ida this week.
Yes, sir.
And remember the goal.
Go Hornets.
Yes, sir.
Go
Thank you.
Hornets.
Thank y'all.
We are excited to announce here at Texarkana Emergency Center and Hospital that we have expanded our capabilities to better serve our community. As a hospital, we have the capability for inpatient services. After your outstanding emergency care, we can smoothly transition you into one of our new inpatient rooms that have telemetry monitors in every room to continue your concierge medicine care. While our patients continue receiving their care in their inpatient suites, we also make sure that your loved ones are taken care of with our outstanding facilities. Our added services include a procedure room and also the capability of MRIs. With our imaging, we are able to offer outpatient, inpatient, and emergency room, MRI, CT, ultrasound, and X-ray. We are honored by your support and look forward to serving all your future medical needs.
Well, welcome back to the show, guys. Episode 10 of the Sideline. It was great having, I guess, we didn't even say nothing when they were on set. What's their little slogan they go by?
Mule shoe.
Mule shoe. Man, I knew I'd seen that on all over. And we didn't even say that when they were on.
I know you're off camera, Coach, but can you explain to us what mule shoe is?
So what I've been told is mule shoe was a CB handle for Mineral Springs back in the day when there was a lot of logging and things, and there was a lot of trucks coming through the area. They had little names, nicknames for each little town, and mule shoe was Mineral Springs.
Well, good deal. That's a nice tidbit because we'll post it and we don't really know what it meant.
It came up with a chant. They had Mule Shoe Wrecking Crew was the defense, one of their really good years, and it just stuck. So now it's Mule Shoe, do it to them, and they'll hear that chant in the stands.
Well, good deal.
Breaker.
Yeah.
1-9.
Jay, look at what Ben's got on.
I love it.
I can't believe he paid for that trash.
You can have one for $10, buddy.
But I'll pay you $10 just to set it on fire.
Actually, here's the deal. The lady that made this for me, I do so much stuff with it. This one was for free, but she said it would be 10 to 20 for you.
Well, she ain't got to worry about me ordering nothing from her.
Especially
on that.
I think it's 20 for Buddy and I. Those larger sizes are a little more.
Well, I won't be getting one of them shirts.
He's selling them out of his trunk in the parking lot. If you need one.
Hey, I'm gonna make some money over there Friday night.
Being you gonna get run out of the parking. Well, no, you're gonna be in Redwater's parking lot, so they
I
might.
bet you I could go sell 100 of these at Redwater.
They'll probably welcome you there. Yeah, you pull that stuff at our parking lot. I hope you got good insurance.
Come on, buddy.
He's just vicious, ain't he?
I know you got to keep it. You got to keep it on the field. You can't bring it out in the parking
Well,
lot.
before Buddy gets mad here and wants to fight, we do need to move to our players of the week.
Absolutely.
Start off with Texarkana Friday Night Lights. Dylan Sprayberry of Falk went for 300 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. Impressive part, he didn't carry it that many times. He had a 90-yard run and a 97-yard touchdown run. Wow. And then we'll move over to Pleasant Grove. Linebacker Buck Anderson showed out 10 tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss.
Not too shabby. Game days, defense also had a Pleasant Grove Hawk. Lance Jackson stepping in there with 9 tackles, 2 of those for loss and a big sack. And then on a perfect evening, offensively, Rip Thomas with the Maud Cardinals, perfect night, 6 out of 6 for 144 yards passing. And was responsible for 6 total touchdowns, 5 of those on the ground himself. So, good night for each of those. And
he had some rushing yards, too, didn't he?
He did. More than 136, so 280 yards total. I'd call that a good high school night.
Well, that's 4 kids that we got to recognize there. So
Right. That video that I think you posted it, Ben. That was of the Falk quarterback, right?
Yeah, that was
Right.
That was Brody Buckley. They made the change to him a couple weeks ago, and they have actually been hitting on all cylinders since. And I believe as senior Levi Lansdale, he hit on the long bomb.
Yeah.
I think we need to talk about the game of the week.
Game of the week.
The rivalry game in the area.
We can't wait any longer.
Well, so there's no rivalry, people. Just to put that out there. Everybody wants. I don't know where this came from. I know where it started, and it's just become a.
Now, if you're going to blame it on me and Morgan, that is not true.
No, I solely blame it on Morgan. So Morgan made the statement during basketball last year when we were in their gym, and I've said this, and Morgan's argued with me too. Their gym is a little bit smaller. It's a little more compact than most gyms, and we travel well. It was a home game for them. Hooks travels well, and it was packed. And he said this had the atmosphere of what looked like a rivalry game. And one side of that gym just ran with that, and the other side still to this day is lost about why that's being called a rivalry.
What we see is you're 7 miles apart. You're both in Bowie County. You're in the same district, same colors. Lots of the same people. I mean, it makes sense. And yeah, Hooks has had the upper hand, but Redwater's up and coming.
Sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, they got some good kids. They got some good dudes over there doing some great things. But they're just not Hooks.
So we talked to a few coaches, and over the past few years, we've had the opportunity to cover some homecoming games, and we talk about the distractions. For me, those rivalry week games are just the same. You can say what you want to, but the players have been talking to each other, and there's a lot more. With that 7 miles being apart, both of you being blue, there's gonna be a lot of blue on both sides of the field. I mean, what do you think? And I'll open this up to each of you. What do y'all think as far as just the distractions that the homecoming and rivalry and things like that bring onto a game?
So there's no distractions on the Hooks end. I'll go ahead and say that. It's just another game in district for us to push through, get to and achieve our goals. I know what our kids' goals are. Of course, we've talked to Keyshawn, Boogie, Emmanuel. We talked to Rip on the Hornet takeover. We all know what them kids' goals are. This is just another game in the way of getting there. They can rival if they want to. That's fine. But we're just playing another district game.
What do you think's the key? We could talk about matchups. One matchup that really, I started as a question and did it wrong. But one matchup that's going to be huge is going to be Marquez Jones versus, Boogie Johnson on defense. And where this is in favor of Hooks is I don't think that Redwater has faced any athlete in the secondary thus far like Boogie Johnson.
Well, so first off, I'm not saying Redwater is not good. They've had a tremendous season so far, but I just don't think that just from me watching all the games, just knowing what's going on, knowing our players that we got, knowing the players that they got, they're not on that same level. We're not ranked 4 in the state for no reason. Our twos pose trouble for them. So
it's a good thing to have depth.
Right. And that's the one thing that makes Hooks so successful right now is it's the depth and the talent that we have in our depth. Keyshawn needs a break. Dontravius Coulter comes in and it's like you never missed a beat with him, So, and that's the same thing with the receiving core. Boogie could come out for a break. Rod Bailey steps in. Everybody knows what Rod can do. You seen what he did last week. The week before last. Sorry, we was off last week. But it's just depth is one good thing that we got going for us.
Well, for me, I don't think that Hooks is going to have an issue with scoring. The offense has proved to be, very, very prolific. And so, I don't think that that's going to be something that's going to be questioned. The thing for me, in order for Redwater to make this a game, is their offensive efficiency. You basically are going to have anywhere from 120 to 140 plays during this game. You assume it's 50-50, so, they've got 60 plays. The ability to limit those negative yards is going to be huge for Redwater, and the efficiency of every time that they get the ball. I'm thinking that they're going to have to score at least 80% of the time when they touch the ball to even have a chance.
Well, here
this game.
And they're also facing the toughest defense they faced from any team they played. This will be their toughest defense. Definitely. Hooks is only allowing 10.9 points per game.
Something that if you followed Redwater this year, something they've done over and over in the games they've succeeded in, and even a couple of games they've lost. They're sitting at 4-3. They've had a great year. Is their scoring on special teams?
They are very dangerous on special teams.
In all seriousness, the way that Redwater can make this a contest is they're going to have 1 to 2 scores, and Hooks have 1 to 2 mistakes on special teams that can kind of even that playing field. They do have the ability.
Is there a chance that Hooks is brave enough to kick it?
Will they kick it to Marquez Jones?
Hey, I'll go ahead and tell you. Nobody in their right mind would kick it to him. Why would you kick it to him? You've seen what he can do with it.
But honestly, that's where they could have a chance. And if it's me, I don't kick the ball to him. I'll kick the ball out of bounds and be like, hey, you're going to have to put a drive together because I'm giving up 10 points a game.
Well, and I hope I don't get his last name wrong, but Nick Farrar is going to have a big game against Hooks. Running back role. That way, Marquez has the opportunity to try to get open. Then the one thing that's been impressive to me is just Carell's been able to score from the quarterback spot as well. So
they've really got to get that RPO going and maybe get Hooks off out of step. They've got to have some deception. They're probably going to need to run some reverses because if they try to run right into the teeth of Buddy's D line, they're not going to have a lot of success.
Don't call me. That's not my D line. That's them kids' D line. Hey, Godfrey, Daniel Godfrey, Arcade Mentor. They're having great years. Logan Baker, Jasper Crane. They're just having great years. There's this Aiden Ashmore. Don't want to leave him out. It's man, just all them guys, man. They're just having a great year on defense.
Well, one of the things that I notated, and I put, I see you, and that's Jasper Crane. Sophomore leading a team in tackles. That's impressive.
Jasper's a dude. He's all over the field. You know, I mean, you see that number 18 just flying around everywhere. You know, I'm not sure what Coach Bay's got him doing, whether he's spying somebody or whatever scheme they got him in. But man, 18's all over the place.
He is definitely, and to shout out a couple other guys. You know, Kason May, who's got 3 interceptions on the year, I believe should have a 4th. Some officiating got it called back, but that kid's had a big year for Hooks in that secondary. And you know, you mentioned keys to victory there. I think Hooks is going to have to go in and contain Marquez Jones, obviously. And if they can do that, I think Redwater's going to struggle to run the ball against that defensive line that's been so good this year at Hooks. So, and special teams mistakes are going to be what wins or loses the game, in my opinion.
Redwater's only chance is to come out, force some turnovers, get some action on special teams, and Hooks is taking care of the ball really well.
Right.
We discussed this a little bit off camera before we went on, but you know, Lawson Angel, you know, he's definitely going to have a big game on defense, and Anthony Helms and Cade Pipes. I look for them to get some pressure.
Cade Pipes is another one of their big dudes over there too. Yeah, not for him to be overlooked. I know the Lawson Angel. You know, he got the Defensive Player of the Week. Was it last week?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, last week. But Cade Pipes, he's right there with him. I mean, he's a dude too.
Well, we're going to have to move on here, but I'd like to get everybody's picks at the table before we move on to the next segment. Who do you got, Tony?
I've got the Hooks Hornets. I don't want to give them necessarily the score, but I think they're going to win it handily. But I think Redwater plays it close in the first half.
Jay?
I want to say Redwater, but I think Hooks just has the better momentum going in. The one thing that sort of I look at each week too, and we still have a few teams in the area that are going to have this pressure, but they're still perfect, and sometimes that can get in the way as well. But I've got Hooks by 14.
I would love to pick Redwater just to make Buddy mad, but I like being right. So I'm going to have to go with Hooks. Do we even ask you?
All three of y'all made some great decisions. That's all I'm just going to say. I made great decisions. I don't even need to pick. You know where I'm at.
All right, let's move on to Pleasant Grove and LE. This is a game that you're going to see a minimum of 12, possibly 14 Division I kids on the field. And they're not all at PG. LE's got some players. LE's not had a great year, but they've got kids, and you cannot overlook them. Pleasant Grove's probably playing as good as they've ever played, and that goes back to 17, 18, and 19. I think it's going to be a full house over there. Going to be a great atmosphere, but probably think Pleasant Grove wins that one, but it's still going to be a fun night for everybody in town.
Well, and I think that you're going to have, you know, 2 games in town that are going to be fun to watch, and definitely Pleasant Grove Liberty Allo is going to be the one that I'm going to be focused on the most. You know, Pleasant Grove most likely is going to win this. Liberty Allo still has some injuries that are key to their team, but you know, the one thing between these 2 teams, when they blow the whistle and the kickoff starts, it's on. And it doesn't matter who's on the field. Pride's going to step up there. You know, Liberty Allo gets out and maybe, you know, gets out early. You know, they can make this a game. But, you know, I think that, you know, Kari Johnson is going to definitely be able to lead the offense and put some points up on Liberty Allo. It's just, can Liberty Allo keep up?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, man, this one's a hard one for me. I'm not even going to call it a rivalry like y'all try to do the.
Well, this is a rivalry, just like y'all's game.
No, I'm not really going to say a rivalry, but, hey, there's a lot of emotion that goes into this game. You know, crosstown teams playing each other. Both of them have some tremendous athletes. I really looked for Liberty Allo after the first couple of games of the season to gather some things up and possibly do, you know, put up some better numbers. But, you know, man, this could be the week that they glue everything back together. You know, I mean, who knows? But Pleasant Grove right now, I just think that they're unstoppable the way they're playing.
Well, you bring up emotions, and the last 2 weeks have been emotional games, I think, for PG, you know, with the players and the amount of, I'm going to call it chippiness, you know, as far as Gilmer and Pittsburgh. And so I'm looking for a well-disciplined game. There's definitely been a little more laundry on the field and some big plays, that have had some flags, personal fouls, and things like that. That's what I'm sort of looking at for them to sort of clean up and get them prepared, for playoff football.
I like to watch Pleasant Grove when I can, and with us having the bye week last week, it gave me I got to watch the whole game. Man, that I really can't even say nothing bad about them. I can't even sit here and really pick anything apart. It seems like every kid. I even text Ben one time during the game, and I said, "Hey, who did they just sub in for Noah Sexton?" And that. Whatever, I think he was number 22, maybe. I don't know, 33.
Buck Anderson.
Yeah, just as good, So, I mean, it was just like it's like they couldn't put somebody in there to do anything wrong. So, I look for Pleasant Grove to really put up some good numbers, and I agree with playing a good disciplined game.
Who do you got, Tony?
Pleasant Grove will win this one. Be a very hard-fought and physical game, but I believe the Hawks will take this one.
Now, do we know if Hadaway's playing or not?
I don't think so.
And I hate that.
And that's what's so frustrating as a fan.
Because I love to watch that kid play.
You want the best players playing and being able to play each other on a game like this. And unfortunately, there are going to be some injuries that are going to keep a couple of leopards off the field.
Well, let's move on to our next one, which will be T-High.
Hold on, you skipped the picks.
Skip the picks.
Yeah, so I got PG.
I picked PG early. They all picked PG.
Okay.
This ain't hooks. We know who we picking.
Are you wanting to change your first pick?
No. We don't need to go and rewind.
Well, we're going to go into Texas High at Natchitoches. Or not Natchitoches, Nacogdoches. Natchitoches was Nacogdoches' brother that's in Louisiana. Do y'all know the story on that?
Please share.
They were Caddo Indians, and they were brothers. And the dad, the chief, sent one to the Cane River and sent one to East Texas. And you got Nacogdoches and Natchitoches.
I learned something
So
today.
there's your history lesson from Texarkana Friday Night Lights.
I like that.
Well, last week, Mount Pleasant beat Nacogdoches 27-22 to put themselves in a really good spot for the playoffs. I don't see Nacogdoches being able to play with T-High.
Well, Texas High actually moves up a step on coming off of a bye week because Argyle ended up beating one of the Frisco teams.
Emerson?
And so, Texas High, moves up one spot. And, once again, this is one of the teams that, maybe has that perfect pressure that's possibly, inside that locker room. 7-0 is a big thing. But I definitely think that, T-High is going to have the advantage here. I think Dave Campbell's, has, Texas High is a 32-point favorite. But one thing that was pretty impressive stat-wise, because I haven't seen Nacogdoches play, but apparently they're not scared to throw the ball. 1,900 yards through the air so far for their quarterback with 21 TDs. So the defensive backfield for Texas High, may see a little pressure that they haven't seen.
Right.
And but that defensive line for Texas High may have a big night.
Hey, also, I don't know if I want to throw it on Texas High's defense. I mean, shoot, there might be some pick sixes coming on through there.
I don't know if I want to hand it off either.
Well, and I think their only choice is going to be the throw for them to have a chance in this game.
We've all seen Texas High. We know what they got. They're studded from the offensive line, quarterback, running backs, defensive line. Hey, that's it's going to be hard for Nacogdoches to do pretty much anything against this Texas High team.
I have to agree, yeah.
So who do you pick, buddy?
Texas High.
Texas High here.
Same thing.
All the way across the board.
All right, let's move down here. We're going to Arkansas High at Hot Springs. Arkansas High started 4-0, and then they hit that meat of the schedule, and it's really unfair that Arkansas High has a team like they do, and then they have to go play in the 5A South in Arkansas, which is an absolute gauntlet. they'd be 6-1, 7-0 if there's in any other, conference. If there's in any other 5A conference in Arkansas, geographically we know we can't do it, but it has to be said. But here's the thing: they've got to win this game, they've got to win Hope, and they've got to win D-Queen to go to playoffs. I'm going to pick them to upset Arkansas High, and one reason I will do it is they lost a very similar game. Parkview did Hot Springs just as dirty as they did Arkansas High. And Hot Springs, and we'll go over it later, somewhat struggled with Magnolia, and I'm telling you, Arkansas High put it to Magnolia. So, you got to have Nate Wall step up big time. I think he's going to get a big win tomorrow night that puts them in there at that 4 seed.
Yeah, I agree. I think Arkansas High turns it around this week. Like you said, they started out, got on fire. Then they hit some big meat in that was that 5A, 6A?
5A.
Yeah, 5A. I'm not saying don't really look at the scores. I wouldn't say look at the scores. Arkansas High, I think, gathers it back up this week, gets back on track, and I think they win out.
Well, Magnolia put up, and never can compare scores, but I will compare defensive scores. Magnolia puts up 38 on Hot Springs. Arkansas High gives Magnolia 7. I think that bodes well. I don't think Hot Springs is as good as everybody thought they were. Lakeside may be the best team in Hot Springs, and Arkansas High should have won that ball game.
Well, I like looking at stats, and I think that this is going to be a close game. I have it within 10 points, but I think Arkansas High does, pull this one out. But both of them are allowing about 21 or 22 points a game, and Hot Springs has the edge on scoring more points at 34 a game versus Arkansas High's 29. But I don't think that Hot Springs has the offense that can put up more than about 20, 24 points against Arkansas.
And here's the deal. If you take out that 64 last week to Parkview, they're really down there in that 16 to 17 range.
Sure.
Yeah, I think Arkansas High puts it together this week and comes out with, victorious. I think, those kids really want it, and the past 3 games haven't gone how they wanted, and they know that they're kind of in a do-or-die situation now. So. Absolutely.
Well, let's move on to our last game before recaps. This is a huge game in Texas High's district. This right here pretty much settles the 2 seed. You got the Patrick Mahomes White House Wildcats going into Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant is having their best year they've had in probably a decade. And we all know about Mount Pleasant. They got Mason McMinn, Randall McMinn's son, who's an absolute dude. And if there's any college coaches watching, if you're not, and he's got offers, but if you've not went and watched him and thought about giving him an offer, you're making a mistake, because you could bring that kid over here and he would improve almost any team instantaneously.
He a senior, Ben?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
For me, I do have White House pulling this one out, and so I think that that's going to create a phenomenal game next week when they face Texas High.
They play them Texas High Tigers.
So you'll have 2 perfect teams in district playing next week if White House does beat Mount Pleasant. But if White House has overlooked Mount Pleasant and started already looking at Texas High, they're in for a rude awakening.
Well, and here's the deal. Also, White House is only a 4-point favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, it's close.
I can't speak as much on this one as some of the other games, but just from what I hear and what I'm seeing on social, I think White House has this one. I think sets up a really, really tight game next week. And
White House is the only team that got T-High in district last year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with them Yellow Tigers.
I'm picking Mount Pleasant also, and I want to give a shout out to Coach Cluey. He's really changed the culture over there. Their big mantra is family, and he's done a fantastic job, because he went in and took a place that just had not had success. And, I mean, they're going head-to-head in a big boy conference fighting for that 2 seed.
Well, I'm hoping for 2 teams to be perfect next week playing for districts. So I'm going with White House.
All right. Yeah. Well, let's move to – go ahead, buddy. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say let's do a quick recap of last week's games before we get out of here.
All right, we're going to start off with the Pittsburgh and Pleasant Grove game, 63-7.
A very good game.
Yeah, Pleasant Grove controlling every single phase of the game there, and for me, it's coming out of that. Let's have some talks about discipline and keeping focused on what's at hand, and that's play every play and then go to your huddle.
Something to point out. One of our admins at Eddie Hackelman, who puts great content on our board. This year, I want to say we scored 70 versus Redwater about a decade ago, but we've never done that again. We've scored 63.
Like 4 times.
I think it's 6.
Or whatever. Yeah,
6
I
or
knew
7.
it was quite a bit.
But this year, we've scored 63 3 times, which is a record under Gibson. We'd done 63 twice in previous seasons, but, that offense is really rolling, and, the defense is scary good. We just hope we can stay healthy, going through all of it.
And that's going to be the key for Pleasant Grove this year is keeping those key players healthy. I have been impressed, though, over the last couple of weeks, seeing some depth show up.
Yep, and you've got, let's talk about Noah Sexton again. We've talked about him several times here. This is a kid that hadn't played varsity till this year, and he's come out and led the team in tackles. He goes hard. He knows the plays. He doesn't miss an assignment. He seldom misses a tackle. But something I want to point out last week, it was late in the game, and it looked like they just called him off the sideline to go play H-back. This kid cracks the linebacker's head and springs Jordan Patterson for a 30-yard run. The game was already over. You don't have to play hard there, I don't suppose, but he was given 110% and probably laid one of the best blocks from a tight end position I've seen all year.
No, while we were calling that game, I probably, and I actually stated that Gibson probably is going to write that down whenever we went back. He may be a good H-back for the
they haven't had an H-back throw block like that all year. Well, we go down here to Redwater and Chisholm, 34-14 win, clinches a playoff for the Dragons last week. Redwater's having a great year. And I don't want to put pressure on them here, but it needs to be stated in a sincere matter. A win tomorrow night could really change things out there. And I know they're a giant underdog. No, I'm being dead serious, buddy. They're a giant underdog, but Redwater, bring your A game. You're not going to get these opportunities many times. You win this game, it changes everything.
Well, not only do you beat your rival, but you're beating a state-ranked team.
Absolutely, and it puts you at 5-3. Have they played DCAB? They haven't played DCAB yet, have they? Mm-mm. In theory, Redwater could be the 2 out there. Yeah. And you don't want to be the 3 or the 4 in that district.
No, it's early exit.
All right, we'll go down here. Mount Pleasant beat Natchitoches 27-22. Falk beats Gurdon. Y'all were on bye week last week, wasn't you? What'd you get them by? 56? Something like that. I thought so. Well, Falk's 35-6 over Gurdon, and that's a big win for Falk. I know, like we talked earlier, Mount Ida's down. Gurdon's down, but anytime you beat Gurdon, it's a big deal. Prescott goes into Louisiana, or they came up here this year. They beat Homer. Homer's a 2A power in Louisiana, played for state title.
Where did you get that picture of that Homer football player? The one you put on the
Waltese Champ.
Yeah. Is that real?
It's real. Waltese Champ. A couple people are like, he don't play there no more. And I'm like, I know he's a freshman at Texas Southern, but Waltese Champ, I don't know. You'll have to Google him, but he is just this. Absolute specimen. He got a few college offers, but like I said, he ended up at, Texas Southern down in Houston.
He looks like Debo off Friday.
He's the most okay. Do you remember
in a high school uniform?
Do you remember the defensive lineman from Baylor that played for Art Briles down there?
Yeah,
he looks like that dude, and he was playing 2A ball in Louisiana. Wow. So you can only imagine.
Just go look at that picture. Go back to the page and look at that picture. I wanted to say something to Ben then because I thought he was kind of being funny, but then I knew it was a serious post, and I was like, man, I would just hate to if I was a high school kid that weighed 160 pounds. How do you line up on the other side of him?
He was, he was a bit undersized. I think what hurt him from getting that big school offer, because as big as he looks, he's still only 6'1", 220, and they had him at D-line.
Right.
And I think they probably transitioned him to a linebacker down there. We've got Jefferson, 49-29 over Atlanta. Guys, Jefferson's getting sneaky good. They're not in the top 10 of 3A Division I yet, but Jefferson is a team that is built to run some games. When your running backs average 228 yards a game, he only has to play one way. He's got a Michigan offer. You're going to go a ways in 3A ball.
Yeah, I suspect by the time that the playoff starts, Jefferson's going to crack that top 10.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to run away with the district. Atlanta was preseason pick, and they hadn't had the year they wanted. We'll go down here. Then we got Dangerfield 40-0 over Elysian Fields. I think I picked Elysian Fields to score 14 on Dangerfield, and I got like 37 negative comments because they ain't scoring, and they were right. Ben was wrong.
Dangerfield.
So I hope you're watching.
Elysian Field's having a rough season. They're having a rough season.
I'm telling you, Elysian Fields has got the Chad Morris effect. Anytime he comes and leaves, it's a graveyard.
Right. And I think the Dangerfield just scoring 40 on them was.
They were probably being easy.
Yes. So Dangerfield could have scored as much as they wanted to.
Nashville beats Ashdown 52-26, and Hot Springs beats Magnolia 55-38. But we've got a great week here. You got LE, you got PG, you got Mount Ida, and Mineral Springs. Everything's kind of taking shape. It's been a great year so far, and it's almost sad that it's about 2/3 of the way over.
Still a lot of football left, though.
Yeah, still a lot of football left.
Well, there's a lot of football left for some teams. For others, it's getting down to the end.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Hooks, how many? Well, they got a month left.
What are you talking about?
The season.
Man, we going all the way to Arlington, bro. Playing till Christmas time. Christmas time and Hooks. That's the goal. That's the goal. That's the goal. I'd love to see this team be able to do that.
I would love to see, what I would love to see is I'd like to see Mineral Springs in Little Rock. I'd like to see Prescott in Little Rock. I'd like to see PG in Arlington, Hooks in Arlington, and Texas High in Arlington.
We do have
and maybe D-Field or Jefferson could get there too.
I would enjoy being in Arlington for 2 straight days.
Because in 2019 it was so much fun. We got to watch Gunter play first. No. We got to watch Paul Pewitt play. Then we got to watch PG directly after. That was a fun day.
Yeah. And if anybody out there listening, if you've never been, even if you don't have a team playing in it, it's something very awesome just to go watch. I'm just guessing here. What I paid $16 to get in the door.
It don't cost anything to go watch.
Yeah, so it costs like $16, and you get to watch. I think I watched 3 games that first day.
Now you got $18 Diet Cokes, but
yeah. Now the food and stuff's expensive, but I mean, just to sit there and watch teams go for the state championship, man, and it's just sitting just all day watching football. I mean, it's a great atmosphere and it's fun to watch.
So, what are you doing for pregame on Friday night?
Ooh, I don't know. Man, we got to drive over to Redwater, so just ease on over there. Find me a good little parking spot away from everybody. Just.
All he's worried about Friday is dragon fries and Philly cheesesteaks from the Booster Club.
Hey, I had a conversation yesterday. Hey, I'm gonna tell you something. The Redwater band boosters run the visitor side concession stand, and they have some Philly cheesesteak sandwiches that they hit. It's good.
He does 2 or 3 at a time.
Is that the only thing you're looking forward to that evening?
Well, I mean, it's going to be
feast date.
Yeah, 50-0 and a Philly cheesesteak sandwich.
50-0.
Hey, if you win 50-0, do we give them a feast?
You daggum right.
All right, right here it's on camera. Buddy is paying for all the Hooks players' feast after the game if it's 50-0.
Don't put that on me. But
you're doing that loan because he's not good.
I guess so.
Well, do we got anything else, or are we about to wrap up rivalry week?
I think that's about it. I'm just looking forward to a good, healthy week for all.
Yeah, right.
Oh, hey, another good news. The Razorbacks get an equally as unfortunate Mississippi State this week, so I think we're getting in the win column.
And just to mention real quick,
I just get a
just to mention real quick, the little Chris Looney just said the Little League Tigers, which is what Kale plays for. They play Liberty Idlo Saturday. So if nobody's got anything going on Saturday, you can go catch them play.
And I've heard rumors of Dave Aranda and Joey McGuire is going to be at that game. So, do you know who that is, buddy?
No.
It's a Baylor and Texas Tech coach. They're already looking at these kids.
Why were they? Wow, are they really?
It's Texarkana, son.
Okay. All right.
Well, I believe that's all we got for today for episode 10. We'd like to thank KT Thomas and Coach Hathcock from Mineral Springs. I think we had a wonderful show today. And go Hornets.
I can't say that.
All right.